Mr. Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Finance. Through a Freedom of Information request, we learned yet another government initiative has ended in failure. After more than 2 years, the government abandoned their plans to modernize OLG, but not before sticking the Ontario taxpayers with another hefty bill. OLG's annual report indicates the government spent $190 million towards modernization in 2012-13, wow. $69 million more in 13-14, and a further $49 million in 14-15. When asked where the money was spent, the government said, quote, "Access to the records is denied." What? $308 million spent with no paper trail and absolutely nothing to show for it in return. So I ask the minister, will you release a detailed account of where that money went?
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Thank you. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as the member opposite has just noted, there's a tremendous amount of contributions that the OLG makes to the province, a dividend that's used to supply and support schools and hospitals and communities to the tune of $2 billion last year alone, Mr. Speaker. And as we proceed forward, the release of those reports are being made, and all of it's being open and transparent. We recognize that we need to continue to modernize, provide further savings. What the member opposite doesn't talk about is the degree of investments necessary right now to bring some of those establishments into the modern era. Continuously, we're looking at that, as we did with lottery. We recognize the importance that it has for Sault Ste. Marie and its employees. We want to ensure that the communities that are providing some of these services have the investments necessary to, again, provide better service as well as appropriate social programs to protect consumers in this area, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Back to the minister. The failed ORPP scheme cost Ontario taxpayers $70 million and delivered $0 in benefits. But through our information request, Speaker, we learned the government spent $308 million on another abandoned initiative. And it's funny the minister mentioned hospitals, because to help pay for this blunder, the government cut $107 million from OLG's transfer to hospitals, Speaker. They're cutting frontline health care services that Ontario families and seniors rely on most. They're attempting to balance their budget on the backs of our most vulnerable, Speaker. Another $308 million has been spent with zero accountability, and our hospitals are now paying for the Liberals' waste, mismanagement and scandal. I ask the minister, what else are you hiding?
Thank you. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as we noted, we're modernizing the OLG, recognizing that more can be available to help Ontario communities. And in fact, lottery sales last year was a record $3.8 billion, and since 1975, OLG has provided $42 billion to the province and the people of Ontario. All of these payments goes to support our hospitals, schools, as well as prevention for gambling and other matters, Mr. Speaker. And we have continuously noted that we need to do more in order to provide for some of those services to those communities. And when the member opposite talks about disclosure, we have been doing just that. In fact, we did it recently, ensuring that we have the information available to the public, notwithstanding the time delays that may occur. And that is all the more reason why we provided the year-end financial statements to the public and to this House. We'll continue to do so, Mr. Speaker. And the Auditor General, even today, was asked if the numbers were correct, and she states, I think they got it right on the bottom line. She too has noted that the numbers that we presented were her numbers, Mr. Speaker.